Hi Rockstars, this is Beth Azor. I wrote a book called the Retail Leasing Playbook. This podcast will go over a few chapters each week to discuss the highlights of how you can lower your vacancy and increase your occupancy. I hope you enjoy it.
Hey Rockstars, today on the Retail Leasing Playbook podcast, we will be going over chapter 55. On this podcast, I go through all of the chapters of my book, the Retail Leasing Playbook, and just give you a little cliff note of the chapter. So if you have the book, it's great for you to read the chapters and then listen to my additional commentary on what I wrote in the chapter. So chapter 55 is entitled Have a Little Patience. And I talk about the story of my Nevada Bob's deal that I did early on in my career. It was probably 1988. Some of you were not even born then. But I had identified the target of being a golf store. I found, as you all know, I tell you to, when you have a vacancy, identify a target you want for that vacancy. I looked into the market. This is in Palm Beach County. There were 16 golf stores. I went and visited each one of them. I narrowed my targets down to two. One was Nevada Bob's and one was another one. The space that I wanted Nevada Bob's to go into was 6,000 square feet. This particular guy, the franchisee for Nevada Bob's, Drew, his name was in a 3,000 square foot freestanding building 3 miles away from my location. And the first time I went in, what the most important thing that I wanted to find out was, did he own the building or was he renting? And I found out that he was renting, which was great. And then I may have found out in that first visit that his lease was up in 2 years. Well, I was married at the time to a golfer. So every Father's Day or anniversary or birthday, you better believe that I went into that Nevada Bob store and bought my husband some sort of golf attire, balls, tees, whatever, towels, because it helped me create the relationship with Drew. And about 3 visits in, probably about a year later at this point, and I, would talk to him every time I would go in the store. And until you walk in the store and Drew, the owner, says, "Hey, Beth, no, I still don't want to go to Boynton Beach Plaza," until they recognize you and what you're selling, you have not made a big enough impact to do the deal. So if you go into a store 9 times and that owner, you have to reintroduce yourself every time, you haven't done what it takes. So you have to talk about your product, drop off a flyer, add value, talk about deals you've done, talk about things that have happened in the area. You've got to get them to, when you walk in the door, they see you and they immediately know that you're there hawking your shopping center, okay? And that takes patience. Yesterday or Friday, I went canvassing in Dallas with a young man, and we visited 48 businesses. And I told him that, and he's young, he's 24 years old. And I said, for the next 20 years, these 48 businesses could be your prospects. I mean, some may go out of business, some might open 20 locations, and it's your job to put them in your CRM so that you can collect information and data every time you go into their store, you DM them on social media. So that's what this chapter is about. Have a little patience with your prospects. Keep going back, making sure they know you, they associate you with the product you're selling, your shopping center, and good luck. Email me or post on social media if you're enjoying this podcast so we can get other people to start listening also. And let me know, which chapter in the book you liked the best or that helped you make some money, because that's what this is all about. Thanks, Rockstars.
Thank you for listening to this week's podcast. I hope you learned a few nuggets to help increase occupancy and lower vacancy. See you next week, where we'll go over a few more chapters of my book, The Retail Leasing Playbook.